Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Video Junkies, the home for the best news for video games and like movies, even though I don't have any movies on the docket today, and pretty much anything I want to talk about. So I'm your host, James Scalziti for People I Hate Studios, and let's uh let's jump right into it, shall we? So this is the very first Video Junkies we've kind of done in an actual podcast format that I've done in an actual podcast format. So, pardon me not being used to it yet. It's going to be consistent of me kind of rambling on for a little bit until I kind of get my bearings straight. So I realize that before we really get into anything, my weekly stuff that I've done, I kind of realized that I had been paying for like the past 2 months for a Podbean account, like a premium thing, to host podcasts because I've always wanted to do like a wrestling podcast with a friend of mine, and then I wanted to do this with some other friends. So I totally forgot about it. I tried making it work the other like maybe about a month ago, and it just didn't work through Discord or Skype. Just wasn't picking up my voice at all, and it wasn't picking up my friends' voices at all. So that was just kind of a garbage fire. So for the time being, it's just going to be me until I figure some stuff out. We can get some scheduling stuff going on, and we can actually record this normally. I'm still also going to try to figure out a good day to record these. Like right now, it's Tuesday. Well, now technically it's early morning on Wednesday the 8th. Um, so maybe I'll upload these on Wednesday. Who knows? We'll see. So let's get into my week. So, I've been not really doing much this week. Haven't been able to really go anywhere on my 2 days off from work because they've been redoing my porch, like completely tearing it apart and shit. So, on Tuesday, it was kind of a wasted day. I kind of hung around the house for hours waiting for them to finish my porch, or at least get it so I can get out of my goddamn house. So I kind of watched some movies. Um, I watched 10 Cloverfield Lane. Fantastic movie, let me tell you. That's the one with shit, I forget their names, but it's John Goodman's in the Cloverfield universe where they're in like a bunker. Great movie, fucking terrible ending. I don't want to spoil it, but it's so dumb it almost ruined the movie for me. I personally hated it. Then I watched Magnificent Seven. Saw that on Amazon Prime. That was pretty good. It was alright. I mean, like the acting performances were great. The story was kind of meh. Just a run of the mill Western movie based off of Seven Samurai, actually the 1950s movie. So, Monday had a friend in town. Kind of hung out with him for a while. That and same with Sunday night. I hung out with him for a while. That's basically been my weekend. Haven't really played much. I've been playing a little bit of Octopath Travelers, which is a fantastic game. I might actually do a review of it one of these days. And I've been playing. I got this game Go Vacation. Someone at work wanted to play it, so on lunch we went to lunch together, and me and him kind of played it a little bit. Playing it with friends, playing with other people, it's not bad, but playing it alone is hilariously bad. It's so boring. It's a fucking minigame collection. That's all it is. It's a Wii Sports or something like that. So it's actually, I did a little digging. It's by Bandai Namco, published it, and it's actually a port of a Wii game. Now I was thinking, it was like, nah, that can't be. But the Wii port, from what I saw, is pretty fucking spot on. It's just shittier graphics, but the exact same game. I was incredibly disappointed. I spent $50 on a fucking Wii game that got ported to the Switch. All right, I thought that was lame as shit. But other than that, I mean, I really haven't been playing much. Just been working. That's really it. Um, Started watching the anime Mr. Tonagawa Middle Management Blues. on Crunchyroll, and that's fantastic. Really funny show about this guy Tonagawa Yukio, I think. Yukio, yeah, I think it's Yukio. Basically, he's the man. He's a middle manager at a loan shark firm, and the president of the firm wants him to manage over a few people to create this weird like death game. It's apparently a prequel to another show. I forget what the show is, but it's hilarious. It's a really funny show. Pretty fun animations. It's goofy. Highly recommend it. And then also seeing the new episode of My Hero. I actually have Crunchyroll up right now on my TV, kind of looking at it, seeing what I'm watching. Yeah, My Hero episode 55. Really good, solid episode. Didn't have Deku in it, which is nice. I get to learn more about some of the other characters, which is always fun. There's so many characters in that show that I just want to learn about. It's nice having these kind of episodes that just focus not necessarily on Bakugo or Midoriya. So, I mean, that's really nice. I really enjoy all the characters in that show. Another great show. 10 out of 10. So that's basically all I have done this week. Really not much else to say. Again, like I said, I haven't had a chance to play many games. I've been working, dealing with construction on my house. So that's about it. Let's get right into the news. We're starting off with the PlayStation Plus games. It is the first Tuesday of the month. So you know what time it is, folks? It is time for the new PlayStation Plus games to drop. So we're taking a look here. We have Mafia 3 for the PS4, Dead by Daylight on the PS4, both of which are available from now until the 10th of September. Mafia 3 I didn't really care for too much. I had it on the Xbox One. I probably put maybe about 5 or 6 hours into it. It's an okay open world, third-person game. I thought Lincoln Clay was a pretty interesting character. It's just the gameplay itself I thought was a little repetitive. Wasn't really just fun roaming around just on my own, just dicking around. I didn't think that was as interesting, but I like some of the characters. It was semi-enjoyable for the bits that I played. I might pick it up again now that it's free. Then we have Dead by Daylight, like I said. Again, it's here until the 10th of September. Don't really know much about Dead by Daylight. I have a buddy that plays it. They really like it. It's a 1v4, kind of like a Friday the 13th game, where I think that's basically what it is. It's Friday the 13th, but it doesn't use Jason. Then we have Here They Lie, which is available until October 2nd, sorry. October 2nd. That is a PSVR horror game. Heard some interesting things about it. I don't have a PSVR, so I can't really 100% say. Can't play it, so I can't say if I like it or not. But from what I'm hearing, it is a really good horror game for the PSVR. It's the first kind of really, really good PSVR game. Then we have Knowledge is Power, the PS4 PlayLink game that is available until November 6th. And yeah, it's just one of those PlayLink games. If you remember, I think it was late last year, Sony talked about it with with that. The one where it was like the Choose Your Own Adventure, where you and a bunch of your friends, you whip out your smartphones and use the smartphones as a controller to kind of decide how the game goes. Basically kind of like almost like a Jackbox kind of thing. So that would be interesting to play with some friends, get them over, have a good old time with that. Then we have on the PS3 until the 10th. All these other games are available until the 10th of September. So we have Bound by Flame. It is that action RPG, if I'm not mistaken. Again, don't really know too much about it. maybe I should have done a little bit of research before doing this. But who cares? It's my first time, so be gentle. Then we have Serious Sam BFG. I do believe that was a remake of the first one. Just classic, first-person shooter, kind of a Quake or Unreal Tournament style first-person shooter. Very fast-paced, very goofy, a lot of crazy guns, or like a Duke Nukem, an original Duke Nukem, 3D stuff. Then we have for the Vita, we have Space Hulk and Draw Slasher. I know literally nothing about any of these, so yeah, we're just gonna brush over those guys. If they're good, they're great. If they're not, who cares? Does anyone really have a Vita anymore? Oh, I miss my Vita a lot. I used to have one, and yeah, I just miss it. I really enjoyed the system. I thought it was great. The only problems I had with it was the stupid proprietary memory cards that Sony always puts in the shit. At least with the PSP, you can just get a memory stick, which was used in all of fucking Sony's cameras at the time. So you can just go to like a Best Buy or a Target or a Walmart or Radio Shack at the time. Rip Radio Shack, rest in peace. And you could just buy the memory card. And you had other companies making memory sticks. Well, the Vita memory cards, you can't find them anywhere. You have to order them online, and like I think it's still, the price is still the same. Let me just do a little research here. PS Vita memory card. So a PlayStation Vita memory card right now, I can get at let's see, Amazon. What is a 32 gigabyte Vita memory card going for? 32 gigabytes. I can get with Prime right now, $62.98. So fuck that. Let me just say, I think they went all the way up to 128 gigabytes or 64. I can't remember. But I can get a 64 gigabyte one for the low price of $91.99. Hell no. Yeah, I think the biggest I can get is 64. But yeah, this is sold by Earth Akiudu and fulfilled by Amazon. But yeah, no, fuck that, okay? Fuck that. That is some massive bullshit. You shouldn't be spending that much. That's something that I would expect. Well, of course, I'd expect Sony to do it because they're the king of proprietary bullshit. But that's something also I would kind of expect Nintendo to do. Like with the Switch, I was worried when the Switch first came out that they would have some bullshit proprietary memory card that's going to cost you an arm and a leg just so you can fucking play Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild without bringing it along with you, without bringing the cartridge along with you. But no, micro SD, fantastic. Good on you, Nintendo. Bad on you, Sony. So that's all the wonderful PlayStation Plus games that are coming out, that are available right now. If you just head on over to the PlayStation Store and download them. But what about the people who have Xboxes? Well, I actually kind of like the games with gold selection a little bit better. You have, in my opinion, a little bit stronger titles. So the first one that was available from August 8th to August 31st, we have Forza Horizon 2 Standard Edition for the Xbox One. So the Forza Horizon series is kind of their open world racing game. Really fun. I like them better than the standard Forza games. I just like with the Forza games. I'm more of a Gran Turismo fan. I just think the Gran Turismo games are a little bit more hefty. They're a little bit more realistic, in my opinion. I think it's just a little bit more. If I want to play a racing sim, Gran Turismo is my go-to. But if it's something that's going to be, just a fun little, game, kind of like a Need for Speed or something like that I want to play, the Forza Horizon series are fantastic. I really, really like them. They're really good. And then here's one that the next game is something that kind of shocked me to see on there. And also, one of the main reasons why I think the games with gold this month is actually better than the PlayStation Plus games, and that's For Honor. Yeah, so For Honor, I think they're going on to their 5th season now, something like that. You can get the standard version included with your Xbox Live Gold membership starting on August 16th to September 15th. If I still had my Xbox One, I'd definitely pick this up. Holy shit. That is fantastic that they have such a triple A title like this on here that is still going for a good amount of money and that they're still making content for. It is the standard edition, but I mean, you're saving. I think it's still going for like $60 or so. Oh, fuck. It's still going for like $60 or so on the Xbox Live store. Hold on. Xbox Store. Yeah, I still think it's the Microsoft Store, formerly known as Xbox Store. Okay, fuck off. Can I search for games on here? Okay, try Microsoft Edge. Hell no. For Honor. Oop. Okay, so For Honor. Let's see here. Get it now. Yeah, the standard edition is still $60. So if you wanted to get the season pass to get it, I mean, it would only be, you'd be spending $30. $30 to get the season pass for it, and that gets you all like the new shit. That's not a bad deal at all. That isn't. Good on you, Microsoft, for that one. So we have For Honor, and then the backwards compat games. We have Dead Space 3, which is alright. It wasn't my favorite Dead Space game. Dead Space 2 is definitely the best. I think Dead Space 3 was the weakest one because it focused too much on the multiplayer. That was the time when, especially like EA, and you saw a lot of horror games do it, where they're focusing a lot more on the kind of like a multiplayer aspect with their horror games. You saw Silent Hill do it with the Book of Memories. You saw Resident Evil start going over that way with things like Resident Evil 5 and Resident Evil 6. And then Dead Space 3 came out. Same thing, kind of focused more heavily on like an online multiplayer kind of feel and vibe to it instead of actually like kind of making it good. So, but yeah, it is what it is. Then we have also Disney Epic Mickey 2 for the the Dead Space 3 is available from the 1st to the 15th of August. So that's ending soon. So if you want to pick that up, pick that up. Disney Epic Mickey 2 also available on the backwards compat list. 360 Xbone. So that's coming out. That's available on the 16th of this month all the way up to September 15th. Disney Epic Mickey 2, I played the first one a little bit on the Wii. Had a little bit of fun with it. Never played the second one. It is what it is. It's just a platformer where you play as Mickey and you had to like use a brush, if I'm not mistaken, to create things in the world to go through puzzles. It was fun for the time. I enjoyed it. Little younger babby me liked it. So those are the games for PlayStation Plus and Xbox games. Fuck. I cannot speak right now. Xbox games with gold. So, let's get on with a little bit more substantial news. With H1Z1 beta is now out on PS4. So, H1Z1, that was a game that kind of gained popularity maybe 2 years ago or something like that. I think it was like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, something like that. It was one of those games like Arma 2, if I'm not mistaken, and like those mods. It was one of those things where you get dropped in with like nothing, and then you kind of had to survive the zombies. And then there's other people. It's not only PvP or PvE, player versus enemy, but it was also PvP, player versus player. And you kind of had to like form your own groups and try to survive, scavenge for resources, take out other players, that kind of stuff. Well, the H1Z1 Battle Royale beta is now on PS4. So, riding high on the coattails of PUBG and Fortnite and Call of Duty and fucking 700 million Android games, H1Z1's also throwing their hat in the Battle Royale mix, the ring. So for those who don't know, Battle Royale games, it's just one versus, or one free-for-all, 100 people go in, one man leaves. You start with nothing, try to win, stay alive long enough to win. If you don't know what a Battle Royale game is, you've been living under a rock, because it is the hottest shit right now. I have people come into work. I have a coworker at work who's, in his like mid 50s or 60s, doesn't play video games at all, and he knows the dances to like the Fortnite shit because his kids taught him, and he knows all about Fortnite. So, not my cup of tea though, but I might give it a shot. It's free. The free beta is out right now if you want to give it a shot. So, we had Evo come out we had Evo this past weekend, the Evolution Fighting Games, the big fighting game tournament of the year. Lots of games were on there. The big one was the Dragon Ball Fighters. We had Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle, also on the main stage. Tekken, Street Fighter, Street Fighter 5, Smash Bros, Melee, all that stuff was on the main stage. Getting so many people hyped for these games. Fighting games are the perfect game for just spectating, for the average Joe to spectate, because it's very simple to understand from a watching perspective. And you can tell that there's a lot of strategy that goes involved. It's like watching boxing or mixed martial arts. It's very clear and concise on what the objective is. It's not like a Dota or like a League of Legends or shit like that, or Hearthstone. It's not that simple, or it's a lot simpler than those guys, because you don't really need to be involved in the group. Like, you don't need to be a part of the fighting game community, the FGC, to appreciate what's going on and understand what's going on when you're watching it on ESPN, for example. So, Evo's great for esports. It's a great way. It's basically a moneymaker for a lot of these. I wouldn't say moneymaker, but it's a good introductory point to companies like ESPN or Fox Sports or MSN or NBC Sports, for if they wanted to get into esports, which is such a huge business right now. Fighting games is a good entry point, and is a good thing for your cable TV, for the average viewer can watch it, get hyped for it, understand, and there's a hell of a lot of great personalities too that are a part of the fighting game community. So it's almost like wrestling in the fact of where you get attached to these characters, these personas that these people put on during the matches. So it's great, and I think it was televised, and I think ESPN, and it helps bring legitimacy to the world of esports a hell of a lot more than things like League of Legends or Dota 2 or things like what are some of the other other big esport games? Call of Duty's kind of like a good middle ground, because it's the only problem with things like Call of Duty is that there's so much going on at all times, and you keep switching, or Counter-Strike, you keep switching between different cameras, and it can be very jarring, especially for the average consumer or the average viewer. I keep wanting to say consumer, and I'm just rambling on at this point to get to some news about some of the things that was announced at Evo, but it's me, and I like to ramble on a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I like to ramble on. So, and I think I also have on here in my notes, just talk about Evo. Literally, that's what it says in my notes. Talk about Evo for a second. So, Evo, long story short, fighting games are great for, Joe Schmo from down the street that likes to watch football, who switches through the channels and sees ESPN and sees this fighting game going on because it's easy to follow. You don't need to be a part of the community to understand it, unlike Dota, League of Legends, Counter-Strike, etc. League of Legends and Dota, and it's easier to follow than things like Call of Duty and Counter-Strike. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on Evo. But the big thing with Evo that concerns this show is that a few things were announced. So I didn't put it in the notes, and I'm sorry, but there's a few characters from Street Fighter V that were announced. I forget. Did I put them in the notes? No, I didn't. No, I put the Soul Calibur, Tekken, and DBFZ on there. But, so my bad for forgetting about the Street Fighter V characters. At least nothing was announced for Capcom, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, because no one cares about that game, not even Capcom. But we had some pretty good news, pretty interesting news come out on new characters coming to fighting games. I'm going to leave that one for last. So, the big thing was after the Dragon Ball FighterZ finals, they announced that Cooler is going to be one of the new characters in the game. That's pretty fucking rad. I legitimately like Cooler. I think Cooler is the the coolest character in the movies, from the movies. He's probably my second favorite villain, right behind Cell. And yeah, I think he's just he's a cooler Frieza. It's like if you took Cell and you took Frieza and they banged, you get Cooler. And I'm just happy that it's not another fucking Goku. We've had enough Gokus and Vegetas and Saiyans in general. Get him out of here. We can only dunk on so many Gokus. One thing that really hits near and dear to my heart is Astaroth and Sung Mina are coming to Soul Calibur 6. Soul Calibur is probably my second favorite fighting game, right behind Virtual Fighter. Virtual Fighter, I love Soul Calibur. And I didn't really play as either of them in any of the games, but it is nice seeing some returning faces again. I am excited for Soul Calibur 6 to come out. I want to play as Geralt, and I want to try to wreck people as Killick some more, because that was kind of like my main for most of the series, other than in 2. Link was the goddamn best. He was the best in Soul Calibur 2, and I will fight anyone who says otherwise. People will be saying that Spawn was better, the Xbox version was better because it had Spawn. No. Nuh-uh. Just spam that down B for the bombs. The arrows. Dude, he had great mid-range, great long range, and great close-up. So, Link was the best. Link, top tier. Bring back Link. Bring back Link in Soul Calibur 6. Alright? Get an exclusive Switch edition. Fuck Geralt. And let's get Link on there again. So yeah, that's Soul Calibur 6 is coming out October 19th. You can expect me to be playing that shit day one. And then finally, something that makes me just want to just go, what the fuck were they thinking? We've got the crossover of the century, folks. The team up that you've always wanted, that the fans have been clamoring for. We have Tekken and The Walking Dead combining. The tag team, that the crossover event that everyone was expecting, that everyone was that wanted. I remember seeing tweets, people tweet out to Bandai Namco and be like, God damn it. When are we going to get Clementine in Tekken 6? Or Tekken 7? Damn it, when are we getting Norman Reedus in Tekken 7? Coral for Tekken 7. Well, we finally got it. Guys, we did it. We got Negan in Tekken 7. So, all kind of joking aside, who the fuck is Negan? Oh, okay, wait, no, I think I know he's the dude. Is he the dude with the bat? I think he is. I've legit only watched, like, the first, I think, 4 or 5 episodes of The Walking Dead, completely lost interest, and quit the show forever. And now I hear that there are a lot of people that are doing the same. What season are they on? Because they're on some, like, ludicrous season right now. And the people at AMC are like, show is never going to end. Walking Dead. When are we getting Death Stranding Norman Reedus in Smash? Okay, it's been going on since 2010. They're what? Season 8 premiered. Episode 16 of season 8 premiered on April 15th. So they're going into season 9 now. Fuck that. That show is... People must be so burnt out in that shit. Legit. It's one of those things where... Yeah. You don't want this thing to end. Because obviously it wouldn't have been going on for as long as it has if it didn't have interesting characters or a fan base that thought these characters were interesting and grew emotionally attached to. But on the other hand, you got to look at it as hey, let's kind of quit while we're ahead here because we're going to be hemorrhaging money soon. So, I'm done. No more talking about Walking Dead. What's next? Oh, so some new info has sprung up about the Halo show. So, if you don't know, they've been planning on making, a Halo movie for a while, and I guess it's been turned into, like, a show. It's going to follow the Spartans, so just kind of learning about the people behind the suits, the men and women that are the Spartans, and learning about them. Master Chief is going to be one of the lead characters in it, so we don't know how that's going to work. They're definitely going to have to find a good actor that can kind of replicate his voice a little bit, because it would be a little jarring to have the video game Master Chief and the live action Master Chief kind of have two different voices, unless this is like a prequel. We don't know much about it. Said that it is not going to follow the games. It's going to be its own story that stays faithful to the game series. At least that's what 343 Industries said. So it's going to be interesting to explore this. The Halo universe is kind of interesting to me, because I'm more interested in the other things that are going on and less of Master Chief. What is it, John 117? I can care less about Master Chief. He can go straight fuck himself. But I'm more interested in the other people involved. So, like your Locke from Halo 5. Or literally everyone from Halo Reach. And just reading some of the books that talk about these other things, like the Fall of Reach, is just, I think, even Halo ODST I found a little bit more interesting. The characters are more interesting. I'm glad to see that it's not going to fully star Master Chief, and that there's going to be other characters. Like it said, the Master Chief is going to be a lead character, so he's going to have a lot of screen time. But it is nice knowing that it's going to follow other people that I can actually give two shits about, and not just a faceless dude who's like, I'm so strong, I need a weapon. And it's set to come out, fingers crossed, in 2020 on Showtime. So it's a Showtime show. They're trying to be like HBO, so they're gonna throw money into it. It's gonna be a good production. I can almost guarantee it. The only thing is it's going to have that. Is it going to have that video game curse, or not? Because like all video game movies suck, or at least most of them do. But let's move on after that to another first-person shooter. Call of Duty Black Ops 4. The private beta started not too long ago, and people are already pissed off at it. So Call of Duty Black Ops 4 has already seen a lot of bad publicity lately, with people saying that they don't like it because they ditched the story mode altogether that focused solely on multiplayer and zombie modes, and then they announced the addition of their Battle Royale mode, which upset some fans and pretty much a lot of people. So Black Ops has always been kind of like, I've liked the Black Ops series for the story, and that's it. I used to be big into Call of Duty, man. I used to play a shit ton of like World at War, Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2. Black Ops 2 was honestly probably the last Call of Duty game I actually put some time into. I played Black Ops 3 for a little bit just to try out my new soundbar, just to kind of get that feeling, and it was fine. But that's the only reason I even touched Black Ops 3. And the only reason I got it is because it was free during E3 on PS4. So, But it's definitely not my cup of tea anymore. I'm probably not going to pick this one up. But the people that are going to pick it up, the people that have pre-ordered the game to get the exclusive beta access, are saying some pretty negative things about it already. So a lot of people, there's a Reddit post. I forget, I'd have to find the article again that kind of links to the Reddit post. Kind of do talking about the armor mechanics and how much it really affects the gameplay and doesn't make sense and makes it worse than ever before. Another thing people are complaining about is the long load times and how the graphics don't look much better than Black Ops 3. So, oof. Boy, howdy. So, you would expect, okay, there's a few things here. Two things. One, they've spent 2 years on this game. 2 years or 3? I think it was 2. Yeah, 2 years. Because it went Black Ops 3. No! Did it go Black Ops 3, Infinite Warfare, World at War? I don't remember. No, I think Black Ops... It's either been 2 or 3 years. They've been working... Treyarch has been working on this game for 2 or 3 years. Okay? They nixed the story on it. Okay? So they could just solely focus on the gameplay, or on the multiplayer, the zombie mode, and the stupid fucking Battle Royale mode. The load times, okay, I can understand. It's beta. It's going to be hard connecting to the servers. There's probably a lot of people that pre-ordered it to get the beta access. Yada, yada, yada. No one cares. I'm more concerned about the graphics. Because that's one thing that I can honestly say is that the graphics... 3 years. Because Black Ops 3 came out... Black Ops... It's been 3 years since Black Ops 3 came out. Because Black Ops 3 came out in at the tail end of the PS3 and 360 life cycle. So, yeah, they've had 3 fucking years to work on this goddamn game. Yeah, they've had 3 years to work on this game. The Call of Duty games have always kind of been known for its graphics. They do look pretty goddamn good, I will say. They look really good. So, you have 3 years to make the follow-up to the second, well, the only other Call of Duty franchise, at least storyline wise, other than like the Modern Warfare series, but we haven't seen another Modern Warfare game in forever. So this is the only Call of Duty storyline quotation mark, storyline that's going on. So you would expect that if they were to put the Black Ops name, the general consensus is that Black Ops is the best Call of Duty series. I sure as hell love it a lot more than the Modern Warfare games. The Modern Warfare games are great. They reinvented the genre of the first-person shooter, the realistic military first-person shooter genre. Call of Duty 4 is still one of my favorite Call of Duty games. The original Modern Warfare is still probably one of the best. I would say it's probably one of the best modern first-person shooters to come out. Still. But to have this franchise, to have this storyline that's already so deep in lore and following the story of these characters and in a semi, cohesive story, and then just to say, nah, fuck it, let's put in a battle royale mode, that kind of doesn't make any sense. And to have these 3 years that you could have spent on either a story mode, but you decided not to, so get rid of that story mode, but you couldn't even make the fucking game look better than a game that came out 3 fucking years ago? I mean, really? Really? You couldn't have used, like, the World War II, the Call of Duty World War II engine? You couldn't have, like, used that and just slapped it in? Now, I'm no game designer. I'm no game developer. I'm not saying that I'm a game developer. But from the eyes of a consumer who's hearing this shit, who is putting this $60, $70, or this $60, this $80, this $120, no matter what you spent on this game, you are putting this investment in your time, in your pleasure. There are people that I know who only buy Call of Duty. That's it. Those are the only games that they play. They buy Call of Duty every single year. That's the only game that they play. And you're going to give them this. They buy this $400 console or $500 console to get the most out of their game, to make their game look absolutely beautiful. They have it on their nice 4K television. They pop it into their nice PS4 Pro or their Xbox One X, and you give them this fucking shit where it doesn't look any better than a game that came out 3 years ago. I would feel insulted if I spent my hard-earned money on this game. I would feel insulted at this beta. And I would be very, very worried on how the actual game is going to be. Because they only got a few months. They only have a few months. When does Black Ops 4 come out? Let's see. Let's take a look at the Wikipedia again. Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Okay, so it is... What the fuck is this? October 12th, 2018. So you got a little bit more than 2 months. You have a little bit more than 2 months to get your fucking shit together, to completely reamp this game, to make it look better, to make it look like a modern game. Because it's not... I'm going to be honest here. I couldn't give two shits, one about this franchise and two about graphics in a video game. I honestly couldn't care less. If a game... Octopath Travelers is one of the most beautiful games I've ever seen, and that's fucking 16-bit. It's 16-bit inspired. But when you are a franchise, okay? A franchise that is dedicated to making this quote-unquote realistic military shooter, and you've been doing this for fucking forever, I expect more. And I'm sure the fans expect more. I mean, we can get away with the long load times. Like I said, it's beta. It's not going to be perfect. The graphics, though, and the armor mechanics are what really scare me, and that the Battle Royale mode wasn't available in this beta. It's going to be in its other beta, which is okay. But I'm just nervous. I'm just nervous that they're going to release a huge patch day one that's going to completely change the textures, or, down the line. And people are going to see this armor mechanic they're already talking about how much they hate. I mean, you explore the Black Ops 4 subreddit, and people hate it. And it totally breaks the game and doesn't make it fun, from what I've been hearing from people. So, they really need to get their shit together. They really do. Because this is a game that every year is expected to make millions and millions and millions of dollars. And it's slowly declining. And the stocks show it. And the shareholders know it. The company knows it. We could see the end of Treyarch. We can see the end of Sledgehammer Games. And they'll just stick with Infinity Ward to push out one Call of Duty every single year. It can happen. I can guarantee it's going to happen if all these games, if they keep fucking up with these games, or if these games just keep not selling, if they oversaturate the market, they oversaturate the Call of Duty market, because it's just like Fortnite and PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, or Paladins and Overwatch. You have these two major players, okay? And then all these other little players that just die out because no one likes them, because everyone's playing the other ones. With the first-person shooter genre, the realistic first-person shooter genre, in all reality, you have Battlefield and Call of Duty. There's a reason why the Call of Duty numbers have been dropping so hard. And while the Battlefield numbers have been staying relatively the same, you get your ebbs and flows like in everything else. With the Battlefield games, okay, you don't get a release every year. You get a release every 2 years or so, or 3 years. They don't oversaturate it. With Call of Duty, you have 3 developers. Making games in every year in rotation. So like this year is I keep wanting to say Neversoft, Treyarch. This year's Treyarch. Next year, let's say, might be Sledgehammer Games, and then the year after that would be Infinity War. And then you switch back to Treyarch, and you just keep doing that. You're releasing a Call of Duty game every single year. Now, we have seen this happen with other games where they take a huge fall when people start getting bored with it. You've seen that with Assassin's Creed. You've seen that with shit like the sports games, the EA sports games. So people are just getting tired of the Call of Duty games every single year. What they really should do is they should just take a year break. Release a Call of Duty game every 2 years, and that kind of kills two birds with one stone. Because on one hand, you have more time to develop the next game. You have more time, more resources, that kind of stuff to develop another game. And 2, you can start building up Call of Duty as an esports giant. Going back to the esports thing. You can build it up as, a force to be reckoned with in esports. Because that's what Call of Duty's always been. Call of Duty has always been a staple on things like game battles and on the esports league. But now that it's losing its foothold in that because they want to release the same game every fucking year. They want to do that. And I'm sure it's not 100% Activision Blizzard's fault. It's probably their shareholders. But still, take a fucking break, let people recharge from it. You know, they say you don't know what you've got until it's gone. Get people back into it, you know. Hey, you know, it's now going to be a big thing when a new fucking Call of Duty game comes out. You know, make it... You see when a Legend of Zelda game comes out, or a Mario game comes out, or literally any Nintendo first-party property comes out. It's a huge fucking deal. It's a huge deal. I guarantee you that the Switch would not have sold as much as it did if Breath of the Wild did not come out the same day. You know why? It's because of the simple fact that these companies, that Nintendo, make sure to polish their games, and they kind of build up a demand. They build up this huge demand for their games, and they don't release the same shit every fucking year, which makes people tired of it. I mean, we kind of see that a little bit with Pokemon. People are getting a little tired with Pokemon because there's a game coming out fairly regularly. When you space it apart a little bit, good things start to happen. People start getting interest back into it. Look at Assassin's Creed. The last Assassin's Creed game before, what was it? Origins. Sold like shit. For an Assassin's Creed game, that is. It did not sell well at all. So they took a break. They came out with Origins, and Origins is a huge fucking blockbuster. It fucking killed it. Because you gave people a break. So all I'm saying here is, Activision Blizzard, just give them a fucking break. Give us a break from the Call of Duties. Okay, from the Call of Dudes. Give us a break. That's all I'm asking. Alright, so before I get like a fucking ramble on for the next 20 hours about Call of Duty and Activision Blizzard, let's move on to the next item in the news. After I get a drink of water. So, some news has been stirring around at BioWare. Currently, BioWare is working on Anthem, their highly awaited Destiny-like game. Destiny/Warframe-like game, co-op, online, like almost MMO co-op kind of game with friends. They've already started talking a little bit about that they want to... They're very interested in working on another Dragon Age and Mass Effect game. Mass Effect, stay the fuck away from it. That's my idea. That's what my thought is. Andromeda, you just gotta wipe your hands clean from it for a while. Let it sit there and simmer. Dragon Age, on the other hand... Dragon Age would be interesting, because we haven't seen a Dragon Age game since the launch of the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One with Inquisition, and that was alright. It was an alright game. I didn't put too much time into it, but for the little bit that I put in, it was just fine. And I think it's about time, you know? I think it's about time that we go back to that old school, you know, Western RPG, almost D&D like RPG that BioWare's kind of known for, and bringing it back to the, you know, high fantasy stuff with a new Dragon Age. I mean, that would be very interesting. There's still a whole lot of that lore that they could explore, all these new, you know, areas of the world that they can explore. And I think it would be a little bit more interesting than if they were to make another Mass Effect game. Because if they were to make another Mass Effect game, it would kind of still be set in the Andromeda Galaxy. And I think right now people are still kind of sore. The Mass Effect name's kind of sullied still. It's kind of, ruined a little bit. Dragged through the mud, if you will. So to have to go back to the Dragon Age universe, I think would be a very smart move. You can, make it set in a different time period, or, different part of the world, or involve different characters. Have it set in like a different sub story of one of the past games. I mean, you can go crazy with it. This is essentially your Lord of the Rings, BioWare. That's your Lord of the Rings. You are the J.R.R. Tolkien of this. So you have this world, and you have some very, very talented people on that staff who could make a fantastic game with this. So that's what I'm expecting. I am hoping that they make another Dragon Age game, but we need to get through Anthem first. All right, if Anthem fails, I'm sure BioWare is going to be gone. I can almost guarantee it, because after Mass Effect, Dragon Age Inquisition didn't sell too well. Mass Effect Andromeda was a huge failure. If Anthem fails, see you later, BioWare. Best of luck in your future endeavors, everyone. And it's just scary with it, because I would love some of these other games. I do genuinely like BioWare. I think they are a great great game developer. They make some of the best Western RPGs out there. But so far, it has not been your past few years. You've had like two of the head writers leave, one of them come back only to leave again. You have Mass Effect Andromeda that just sucked. That flopped super hard. So everything is riding on Anthem right now. And let's just hope that Anthem sells, 100 million fucking units or some bullshit like that. Let's hope it kills it, because I don't want to see BioWare die. I don't think anyone listening to this wants to either. Speaking of bringing back different games, I don't fucking know. Resident Evil. Resident Evil 2 is coming out next year. Resident Evil 2 Remake, and I'm super excited. Resident Evil 2 is my second favorite Resident Evil game, right behind Resident Evil 4. So they had a little interview with some of the people, some of the heads for the Resident Evil 7 game, and seeing where the future might hold. Not a whole lot was said. In all reality, not a whole lot said. Main thing was Resident Evil 7 was supposed to be like kind of the start of a new chapter in the Resident Evil franchise. So you can kind of look at all of the all the mainline Resident Evil games as a chapter in this story, because they all happen relatively close to each other. They all have very similar styles of gameplay. You have 0 through 3, or is like the beginning chapter. They all happen basically at the exact same time, or a little bit apart. And they all have kind of like that B movie feel. It's a very different feel to it. Not as, Resident Evil 2 kind of being a little bit of an outlier, but they're kind of like, their own closed off thing. And then you have the second chapter, almost like a second movie, where's your 4, 5, and 6, where they become a lot more action heavy and, less slow, less like a horror movie and more of like an action horror movie, kind of like an Aliens or Alien 3, Predator series, that kind of stuff. So this one with Resident Evil 7, this is the start of a whole new chapter. This is the start of what I think is going to be a modernized version of a classic. So you're going to take your Resident Evil 7 and onward. You're going to build off that Resident Evil 7 engine. You're going to build off of it. you're going to follow these characters. Maybe the next one's going to start Chris Redfield again, this new iteration of Chris Redfield. And maybe this will be kind of like an entirely different like universe, essentially. A whole different Resident Evil universe. Maybe it's not connected to the other games. I mean, Chris does look completely different at the end of Resident Evil 7 than he did in any of the other games. So maybe Resident Evil 7 is kind of a reboot of the franchise. Instead of it being kind of like the next chapter, it's an entirely different an entirely different series now, where it's more of like a first person like Outlast kind of thing, where you're mainly helpless, very cat and mouse feeling, slow, methodical. You gotta plan out your moves. You're not invincible. You like in Resident Evil like 6 especially, or 5, or even to an extent in 4, where you're not invincible. Or it kind of gives you like a helpless feeling, kind of like you did in the original Resident Evils, where again it is a much slower paced game. It is a game more heavily focused on item management, and you kind of have to play cat and mouse in many situations, where you're the mouse and you just kind of have to hide from these seemingly impossible creatures. So here's hoping that if when they do decide to make a Resident Evil 8, I think it would be beneficial to kind of stick with the Resident Evil 7 formula and kind of have this kind of be the new norm for a little bit. Or who knows, maybe they'll just do over the shoulder again if Resident Evil 2 when Resident Evil 2 sells gangbusters. But some fans have been talking about what they want to see. Some people are saying they want to see England, Africa, Middle East. Those are a few of the names that have been popping up. Africa, probably not, because I already went to Africa. It would be interesting to see it in Europe, or possibly the Middle East. Europe would be interesting, because it's more... I wouldn't mind seeing it in like a Dubai, if it was in the Middle East. Somewhere like a Saudi Arabia or something like that. That would be very interesting, I think. That would be kind of like almost like a... Because there really hasn't been a Resident Evil game that's taken place in a huge metropolitan city. Raccoon City was kind of like a small town, a smaller city. But it would be very interesting to see one that takes place in a huge city. I think that would be very interesting. A very, very different take on the series. But then, at the same time, okay, yeah, it has happened in, like, Hong Kong and shit. But again, that was, like, Resident Evil 6, and I don't count that as a video game. It would be nice, it would be interesting to see a more traditional or this new style of Resident Evil game set in something that's a little bit more densely packed, a little bit more claustrophobic. So that would be interesting in my opinion. I would like to see it there, or again in England, because then you can get those beautiful English countrysides or get some really nice visuals out of it. I think something a little bit more open but still constricted would be nice, kind of like a Silent Hill. I think that would be very, I wouldn't say much better, but I think it would be a very interesting take for them to leap forward and something that they should play around with. So next up on the dock is Divinity Original Sin 2, the award-winning RPG. Possibly one of what many people are saying is one of the best RPGs ever made, is finally coming to the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One on August 31st. The developers of the game promise that it is going to be a better experience with all the DLC and all that good stuff. So they're going to try to perfect perfection, if you will. Speaking of RPGs, Square Enix is extremely excited about how well Octopath Travelers has done sales-wise. I mean, there are places I know at my work, we can't keep it in stock. People are buying it left and right. We haven't been able to keep it in stock. It's almost like a Super Nintendo Classic or something like that. But it is really nice to see that Octopath Travelers has been doing extremely well, blowing Square Enix's sales expectations out of the water. And now they're saying to expect some more games like Octopath Travelers. Now, I don't know if that means completely new IPs based in this pseudo 16-bit style, or if they're going to be porting some stuff from like that age onto different things, because I would really fucking like to see a Super Mario RPG or Chrono Trigger using the engine that Octopath Travelers use. That would be incredible. I would love it. But hopefully we're going to see a lot more games like that, which will be nice because I do love my Octopath Travelers, my Octodad Travelers. Speaking of Nintendo and video games, tomorrow, well, today, I guess, on the 8th of August, we're getting a Nintendo Direct. So this Nintendo Direct is solely going to talk about Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Ooh. So at E3 this past year, they talked heavily about Smash Bros. Ultimate, talked about all of the different characters, a lot of the different mechanics that they're changing. Pretty much there's like, I think they said about 400 some changes were going to happen to the mechanics, which is incredible. And I'm just wondering what they're going to talk about now. Are they going to announce a new character? Because that's the one thing they haven't really announced yet. With Smash, they've announced that everyone is here. Every character from all the other Smash Bros. Games are here, which is awesome. Snake's flat butt and all. But one thing with the Smash Bros. Games is that it's really cool to have these fan fiction battles of who would win. And now that they're kind of doing things like, they had Solid Snake, they're having Sonic, they had, Pac-Man and Mega Man in the games. It's going to be interesting to see who might show up. And one thing that Nintendo always said is that it has to be someone who's been on a Nintendo platform before. So the first thing everyone's talking about, everyone's saying, oh, it's fucking Goku. Goku's gonna be... Goku. Sorry about that. But that's how people are talking right now. But a lot of people are like, Goku's gonna be in the next Smash Bros. I mean, Dragon Ball FighterZ is on the Switch. All the fanboys have been wanting that. It only makes sense. I don't know how to feel about that. Because when you still want it to be kind of like... It's weird. So Smash Bros. Has always been kind of like this, again, this fan fiction, who would win kind of thing. The kind of things that you would debate about at the schoolyard during recess. But on the other hand, most of the characters that appear in Smash Bros., especially the non-Nintendo characters, usually have had a, huge impact involving the Nintendo platforms. So you have people like Mega Man show up. Well, Mega Man started on the NES. And that's where most people know him by. Between the NES and Super Nintendo with the X series. You have Solid Snake. Well, the original Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2, Snake's Revenge, came out on the NES. And Metal Gear Solid: The Twin Snakes was on the GameCube. So he's kind of had his foot in the Nintendo door for a very long time. And I remember, like, that's kind of where I played the first Metal Gear Solid game, was on the GameCube. You have Bayonetta, who kind of was revitalized by Nintendo. You have, like, the big outliers, like Cloud, who's never actually appeared really on a Nintendo console. But the franchise has been on a Nintendo console, so that's fine. But I just don't know how I feel about Goku being in a Smash Bros game. I think it's too Mugen like. It's too, like, really, like, hardcore fanfic like. So personally, I don't like it. But if Goku, I'm gonna be honest, I might pop a little bit if I see Goku on announced at the Nintendo Direct tomorrow, because that's just another way of dunking Goku. And finally, again, talking about Nintendo, The World Ends With You. It's coming to the Switch October 12th. The remake of the DS game that got turned into an iOS game, coming to the Switch. A lot of people like it. I've never played it. I'll probably pick it up on the Switch. So that's it that I have for the news. I'm probably going to be streaming on Wednesday tonight. I'll probably already be streamed by the time you listen to this. Going to be doing some more JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Veno Oreo. Might post... Oh, I do have something posting tonight on the main channel. On the channel. Might do some recording of some other stuff later in the week of, like, Dream Gear or something like that, some plug and play stuff, and post that on the YouTube channel. What else? And I got work, so yay me. If you like it, make sure, if you want to check out some of this stuff, check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/PeopleIHateStudios. Link is going to be in the description. Same with my Twitter, @PeopleIHate10. That's going to be on there. That's where I usually talk about me streaming and anything like that. Follow us on Twitter or on Twitch, by the way, also. Twitch, where you can catch my live streams, like my, what I call import nights now, and my Weeb Wednesday. My import nights where I play some Japanese PlayStation 2 games, and Weeb Wednesdays where I play some goddamn weeaboo trash. You can check that out at twitch.tv/PeopleIHateStudios. And again, if you follow me on Twitter, I link that every time that I'm live. So you don't even need to remember that if you just follow me on Twitter. And I think that might be it for today's episode, for this week's episode. I'll probably be back next week with some more news, talk about some of the other things that are going on with me at the time. And yeah, so you guys have a good morning, evening, afternoon, no matter what time it is, where you're at when you're listening to this. Yeah, have a good one. And I'll see you next time. Where's my mouse?